Well, hi, my name is Andy Tidy and welcome back to another episode of Canal Hunter. This is the series where we're tracing the old abandoned inland waterway route which existed from Norbury Junction on the Shropshire Union Canal through to the River Severn near Ironbridge. To get there we have followed the Newport Branch Canal, followed by the Trench Branch. Then we jumped onto the Wombridge Branch, and instead of heading our way straight the way down to the river, we've decided to take a bit of a diversion. We're going to explore the Donnington Wood Canal. And we've moved along the Donnington Wood Canal as far as Muxton. This was the site of the old collieries and also the Muxton pumping engine. The collieries supplied the coal which originally went out into the town of Newport. Latterly it went out by tramway out to the Humber branch. But the canal went on further than that, although this bit was put out of water a very long time ago. Having passed through the site of the Granville Colliery, we've come out into the Shropshire Golf Centre, and across here the line of the canal becomes a little bit more distinct. As you come into the Golf Centre there is a section of wide open canal, and then going on beyond, the canal bed has been retained as a series of rather fancy water features. I'll pop the drone up and let you have a look for yourself. So we're going to have to play hopscotch, and our next port of call will be Lilleshall Abbey. So I will see you there. I had wanted to do a drone flight from the golf course to Abbey Farm, showing you the bridge that stands in their backyard. Sadly, the wind has picked up so strongly that's not possible, so I'll just make use of one or two still photos that I have in my archive. Well, then beyond the golf course, it's out across the fields where the canal track has been lost. But we pick it up again beside Lilleshall Abbey. Whilst the canal track is mostly dry, the channel is pretty obvious, as is the bridge. Of course, there is no right of access along the line of the canal, so we have to go bridge hopping. So we're going to move around to Hughes Bridge and pick up the story there. Out beyond Lilleshall, the canal goes back into the farmland until you come here to Hughes Bridge. We still have very little in the way of water, but we do have bridge parapets, and we can see quite clearly where the canal used to run. Well, there is a little bit of a clue in the sign here about why I've brought you into such a remote location. After a bit of rain, there is a little smidge of water in the bottom of the canal, so it does almost look like an inland waterway. This little network of canals has a claim to fame, which is its inclined planes. So out here the canal bed still exists, and we're coming up to a little junction, and it's the junction that I really want to share with you. So this is the junction onto the Lilleshall branch, but a junction which was made up of an inclined plane. And the incline itself is still quite apparent. You can see the line of the incline running off down the hill to the meadow below. The incline is probably better observed down here at the bottom, a nice steady gradient rising up the 60 odd feet from the bottom. The interesting thing about this place is that this was Mark II. Mark I can be seen just to the left. Tucked here in the back garden of the adjoining house, there is a little tunnel peeping out of the hillside. Back in the day when this little branch was first built, boats used to sail along here into the tunnel and be unloaded. Do you know, from time to time people get the intense urge to go and explore the tunnel behind me, and you see lots of archive photos of people peering inside its rim. Well, a local caving club decided to do just that a few years ago. They came down and they came fully equipped, and the lead caver put on his entire frogman's outfit, you know, flippers, goggles, wetsuit, the lot, and then he stood at the threshold to the tunnel, and his mates took the real mick out of him because basically he just went down ankle deep in water. However, he did get the last laugh, because as he waded in, it got deeper and deeper. You see, the current owners have dammed up the entrance to some extent, which creates a water feature. By the time he got to the end, the water was waist deep, and at the end he could see the two vertical shafts that run up to the surface. They did their best to try to plot where those shafts might be, and reckoned that they were probably underneath two trees which are now growing on the site. Anyhow, it's good to know that the tunnel and its two shafts are alive and well underground. However, that is something that is beyond the scope of Canal Hunter to verify ourselves. For us, we'll just look at the inclined plane and be happy with that. This is the Lilleshall branch, built by the Duke of Sutherland to reach his limestone workings in Lilleshall. It's not that long, probably less than a mile. And it had to overcome a difference of about 70 feet between here and the main Donnington Wood Canal. The first attempt to overcome the difference in height between the Lilleshall branch down here and the Donnington Wood branch above was to simply dig a tunnel straight into the hillside. And at the end there were two vertical tunnels, or two vertical shafts should I say, and they simply floated the boxes into the tunnel and lifted the boxes off the boats and winched them up. In fact, they used them at the counterweighting, using the coal coming down and the lighter limestone going up, so basically they balanced themselves out. The tunnel and the two pits didn't prove to be a very successful approach, so in the end they were scrapped and a conventional inclined plane was built alongside it, hence why you see the two ways up the hill today. One of the nice things about the Lilleshall branch is that even today the canal still has water along most of its course. And what's more, its towpath is now a public footpath. So you can come and explore this section without any fear of being told to get off private land. But all good things come to an end, and ultimately the Lilleshall branch ends up back in open fields. But then, just as you give up hope of any built remains, you find an old bridge. And because we're miles from anywhere, I think I can safely climb inside this one. And the bridge marks the entrance to the Pitchcroft branch, another slightly longer branch that striked out right across the trees in the distance. I don't know how obvious it is on the video, but this hedge coming down here weaves in and out as it goes down the hill. That mirrors a set of little micro locks. I guess they were probably small enough to hold just one tugboat, and they were used to let boats down even further as they went out in search of more limestone. Perhaps the most amazing thing about this landscape is just how it used to be so industrial. The whole area was one big sea of lime kilns. The coal was brought down the incline from Donnington. The limestone was brought up the arm from Lilleshall, and they were mixed together. The end result was fertiliser for the fields and lime mortar to go between the bricks. And of course, some went into the production of iron back at the furnaces. Very hard to believe when you see the expanse of agricultural fields today. And the towpath continues with some water in the old Lilleshall branch, and we'll head up towards the lime workings at the far end. The Lilleshall Lime Works. This is the beautified, reconstructed version. I think there might be a bit through the woods, which will show you more how it used to be. I'm not planning to venture down into the limestone workings, but it's like a little mini Switzerland around here. Deep chasms where the limestone was removed, and then along the top an area where an old tramway would have run to remove the goods and to take them up to the canal. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little diversion of a diversion up the Lilleshall and Pitchcroft branches. I had hoped to show you some pictures of the Pitchcroft branch using the drone. Sadly, the wind has got up far too high for that to happen. So I will put in some maps and the little bit of drone footage I took before the drone pretty much got blown away. Then it's back to the fields, very reminiscent of the Newport Canal. And so we have to jump forward to the entrance to Lilleshall Hall. You just have to grab the scraps of this canal wherever you can. Out in the far background, it's open fields all the way through from the Lilleshall Incline. But here, as you enter into the grounds of Lilleshall Hall, you find there is a little fragment of the old canal still running across. The problem was that the canal lay exactly in the place where the Duke of Sutherland wanted his new road to go. And so the grand entrance into Lilleshall Hall now stands on the remains of the Donnington Wood Canal. And if that isn't enough, they've even kept one of the old canal bridges as a bridge on the driveway. If you look at the foundations on the side, the bricks come down to water level, but they're just dug into the rock to try to get a good gradient running through into the driveway. The Lilleshall branch and its incline were abandoned in 1878 when the area's limestone workings were closed down, after which little use was made of the Donnington Wood Canal to the east of Muxton Bridge, or the golf course to you and me. And so the canal died in stages. First there was the closure of the limestone workings in Lilleshall, and then in 1904 the Lilleshall made more and more use of their line from Muxton Bridge to Lovestree Wharf on the Humber branch. The canal's main water supply from the pumping engines at Donnington Wood and Muxton were turned off in 1928, and so this western end dried out. So after another stretch of open fields, we come to the last bridge on the canal. This one offers a little bit of a treat, because down below the bridge, the canal bed still runs in water. So here we are at the terminus of the Donnington Wood Canal. These days it's just a farmyard. Back in the day this was the major coal wharf, coal which came out to go onto the turnpike and to be moved into the town of Newport. That is it for the Donnington Wood Canal, and it's it for this episode of Canal Hunter. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you soon. But for now, cheerio and happy hunting.